Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Payal, your own IELTS trainer, and this is our second video on how to improve vocabulary. This is our lesson number 2. So in the previous video, we had discussed on how we can exhibit variety of vocabulary using synonyms. In this video, we would discuss on how to present our thoughts using variety of sentences. So as you know, that lexical resource is an important parameter of evaluation for writing and speaking. So therefore, it's crucial that we, present our sentences, our thoughts in different ways so that examiner is convinced on our hold over the language and, he's impressed with the way we write or the way we speak. Now, when we write or speak, we should use different types of sentences like simple sentence, compound sentence, complex sentence, conditional sentence, or we should also, write in active voice and passive voice. So, for instance, if I have a group of sentences which are too short, then they would have a negative impression about my hold over the language on the examiner. So for example, if I have a few sentences as, I live in Dubai, I work in a multinational company, I stay very far from my company, I travel by train every day. So these are 4 short sentences. I should show my expertise on usage of complex and compound sentences. I should combine the sentences like, I live in Dubai and I work in a multinational company. So that's a compound sentence. Since my house is very far from my office or from my company, I have to travel by train. So this is a complex sentence. So before we go forward, let's try to understand how do you define these types of sentences. Alex kicked a football. This is a simple sentence with a subject, verb and object. Alex is a subject. He is the doer of the action. Kicked is a verb and football is the object on which the action is being done. Now, if you have, multiple, simple sentences, you will have to combine them to form a compound or a complex sentence. Birds fly and fish swim. So we have 2 independent simple sentences. Birds fly, fish swim. And we're combining them using a conjunction and. So that's called a compound sentence. As the word suggests, compound is combining. We're combining 2 independent sentences. Now let's talk about complex sentences. These sentences are, usually, we could have one independent and one dependent sentence, and when we're trying to combine, we would form a complex sentence. And this is one area where a lot of people make mistakes in linking the words or linking the sentences. For example, since he was unwell, he missed the presentation today. So there are 2 sentences here. He was unwell, he missed the presentation today, and we're combining these 2 sentences using a linker since, and this is a complex sentence. Another example of complex sentence is obesity, which is an issue of concern, needs to be controlled. So here we have 2 sentences, 2 independent sentences. Obesity is an issue of concern. Obesity needs to be controlled, and you want to combine these 2 simple sentences using a linker which. And that's how we form a complex sentence. Why do we use a linker? Because we are linking or connecting 2 sentences. That is why we're using a linker. So the most common mistake that people make in grammar is sometimes they link 2 sentences and forget to use the linker. And at times they use a linker and they forget to combine. For example, if they have a long sentence with a linker, like since this is the best practice to approach this problem, full stop. They might just forget to link it. And that's where they, end up giving a wrong impression to the examiner about your language. And you may get less band. You may lose points not only on the, parameter which is grammar, but also on coherence, because you're not connecting the sentences properly. So if you're not using your linkers appropriately, you will get less marks on the parameter coherence. Now let's talk about conditional sentences. If this problem is addressed with the united efforts of the government and the public, it can be easily resolved. So whenever you connect 2 sentences, you have to make sure that you punctuate properly. You use a comma to connect the two sentences. And if you do not use that, then it will be difficult to segregate the two sentences. And technically, they are wrong. I mean, you need to take care of your punctuation. Now let's talk about active voice and passive voice. Now, what is active voice? Where it's important to have a subject. For example, Alex kicked a football. So Alex is the subject and it's being mentioned in the beginning, and you have a verb and you have an object. Now let's tweak it, let's rephrase it by writing it in passive voice. The football is kicked. So here in passive voice, your subject is optional. You may not use it. For example, Alexander wrote a book. A book was written by Alexander is optional. So how can you use active and passive voice when you want to create a good impression on the examiner? For example, if your topic is, some people believe that schools should teach the children to cooperate. So if you want to rephrase this and you probably are not very sure on synonyms to be used, you could rephrase it in passive voice. You could always write it as, some people believe that children should be taught on being cooperative. So what was your initial sentence? Schools should teach children to cooperate. So that is active voice. Children should be taught on being cooperative. That is passive voice. So as you can see that even if I have a combination of different types of sentences in my writing and speaking, no one can stop me from getting a good band. So in the upcoming videos, we would discuss a lot more on vocabulary, and so you stay tuned in with us. Subscribe to us, like, comment and share this video with all your friends, and we would be happy to be a part of your success and the journey. Thank you.